That's going to be fun.
Recording is on.
So I've got two ways we'll be recording here. Don't you just love technology? All right, it says go live. Now let's see how that looks there. That's going to look good. Okay, welcome everybody to LisaBug Yoga by the Pool. I'm super excited to have a nice group of ladies with me this morning, socially distancing. This is such a special time to be able to gather together as a community, right? Because we've had to socially distance in our homes, and we've been missing that wonderful heartfelt community. So over here across from me, I have Kate, I have Melissa Borman, I have Chris Norman Major, I have my dear friend Fern here, I have Shelly, I have Joyce, I have Melissa Harrett, and back there is Joanne Babick. So, and all of you online, I thank you so much for joining me this morning. So we are going to work on strengthening the upper back. Joyce asked me last week. Remember, you were talking to me about, the upper back and how we are super rounded in our shoulders. And I have to tell you guys, since I've been doing these YouTube videos, I've really had a wake up call. I've been watching my form, realizing I thought I had really good posture, and I'm starting to get this sloping of my shoulders and rounding of my back. And I think it's a function of age as we get older, but it's that sitting in front of a computer and in front of a phone and being in that rounded position. So we have to stretch what's tight, which is chest and shoulders, and we have to strengthen what's loose and rounded, which is our upper back. We're going to do that today with an optional hand weight. I have a 3-pounder. You don't want something really, really heavy. So a 5 might be a little bit too much, but you can use a can of green beans, a water bottle. That should be nice as well. And then a strap too, if you have one, yoga strap, or you can use just the length of a hand towel is going to work really nicely for this. So let's just have a seat and close our eyes, come inside, prepare for our practice today. Begin to breathe in and out through the nose and just check in with your spine as you sit, rooting firmly into the sitting bones. Allow your pelvis to be level, front and back, right and left sides. Check to see that your shoulders are nicely stacked over your hips. You feel that small little curve in your lower back. Brace that curve by drawing the belly in, our Uddiyana Bandha, that abdominal lock. And slightly draw your shoulder blades back, lifting your heart forward and slightly upward. Make sure your shoulders are pressed down away from your ears. And really lengthen through the crown of your head. Just imagine that your head was a helium balloon, and it was trying to rise up, 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 away from the neck and shoulders. And we set an intention for our practice to honor our body and to do what is safe for us today, to listen and to feel and to learn. All right, let's open our eyes and take hold of your yoga strap and hold it right in front of you. And we are going to learn 4 actions of our shoulder girdle. So our arm moves in our shoulder, but our arm is really not going to be the focus here. It's going to be this whole section of our shoulder girdle, which involves the clavicle and the shoulder blades back behind us. So holding onto your strap, create a little bit of tension. And the first movement we're going to learn is called protraction of the shoulder blades. So we're just going to round and let the strap come forward. That's protraction. Now, if we do the opposite of that, it's retraction. So we pull the shoulder blades back. And I want you to go through those movements a couple of times, protracting. So we're learning the names. as well as feeling the actions into retraction. And I think you're probably already saying you know which one is better and which one we're going to be working on a little bit more. And you'd be correct if you said retraction. So protraction is where we spend a lot of our day when we're looking down at our phone, we're on our computers, we're driving our cars, we're eating our meals, we're in protraction. So we need to train our body to retract the shoulder blades even while we're doing those activities of daily living, if at all possible. Let's do one more protraction and one more retraction. Good. Give your shoulders a little break. Relax your arms. The next two movements are shoulder girdle elevation and depression. So arms are out, pull on the straps to create tension. Elevation is to shrug the shoulders up. Depression is to push down. So as you go through these two movements, I want you to notice which muscles elevate and which ones depress, because we're training our body to depress the shoulder blades. Let's do three more. Elevate and depress. Here in Minnesota in the winter, we spend a lot of time in elevation, and it's not altitude. It's hunching our shoulders up. I think it's called the Minnesota shrug sometimes. We also do that when we feel tense and anxious and stressed out. So now I want you to depress, come into depression and retract. And we are just going to hold, and you can even close your eyes. And I want you to notice which muscles you are firing in your shoulder girdle to stay in depression and retraction. And this should feel like a fair amount of work. Let's take three more breaths here. Because right now we are strengthening those muscles isometrically without moving them, without using a hand weight. One more breath. And exhale and release it. Okay, so those are the muscles we want to work today. In order to work them in a good range of motion, we've got to stretch all this front side of us out. So take your strap, bring it behind your back, and you can widen your hands as far as you'd like to along your strap. You can have them close together, far apart, and I want you to depress and retract your shoulder blades and then try to lift your arms up. I don't want you to feel any pain or any tension anywhere. It's just to press down with your lats, draw back with the upper trapezius muscles, the rhomboids, and then try lifting your arms. And we'll hold here 5 breaths. Feel the stretch and notice where you are tight today. Is it balanced from right to left side, or do you feel tighter maybe on your dominant arm? If you're right-handed, maybe you feel a little bit tighter on that right side. 2 more slow breaths. Inhale and exhale. 1 more breath. Exhale and release it. All right, take your strap into your right hand, bring it straight up to the ceiling and drape it behind your back. And notice you start to feel this stretch in the tricep. Grab a hold of that elbow, give it a pull so you feel the lengthening. So when we're tight in our shoulder girdle, that translates to other areas of our body, and the arms are specific to that. In the range of motion, we can lift our arms above our head. So we hold this here, take the left hand, turn your thumb down, inwardly rotate until you can find your strap behind your back, and notice how far apart your hands are. Some of you might be flexible enough to actually interlace your fingers together and to bind your hands, but if not, this is your flexibility for today. So we're just going to hold here for a few breaths with really good posture and slightly depress your shoulder blades and retract them back. Is that hard to do in this position? It's very subtle. It's not a lot of movement. And over the period of the next few breaths, maybe you can creep your fingers a little closer and a little closer towards one another. Then adding a little baby side bend for the body on the right side, will tip over towards the left knee and create space from your right hip through your shoulder, along that upper arm, right into your elbow. And then we'll come back to center. Release the bottom arm first, let it slide back to the center, and then release the top arm. Just a couple of shoulder rolls. Now, when we're stretching this, we're not going to that place where we feel discomfort or pain, just to a comfortable edge. Left hand holds the strap. Drop it behind your back, grab your elbow with your right hand, and give it a little pull. I'm feeling a little sore from our Pilates class in my triceps from this week. That's a good thing. Okay, let's hold that where you're at, and then inwardly rotate. Your thumb goes down as you reach back behind you and walk your hands together. Now, for most of us who are right side dominant, this is the harder side. So maybe you're finding that your hands aren't as close together on this side. Just be patient. Slightly depress your shoulder blades. So we're pushing down and retract them back. And we hold this. The Uddiyana Bandha, we still have that connection in the core, in the abdominals. Breathing in and out through the nose, maybe connecting with the Ujjayi breath as well. Take a little side bend over. Just a little one, enough to create a little bit more length, and breathe into the side body on that left side. 2 more breaths. And we'll inhale back up. Bottom arm releases first, and then the top arm. Set your strap next to you. Do a couple shoulder rolls just to loosen everything up. So we should feel a little bit more open through the pecs, through the fronts of the shoulders. And now we'll work strengthening with our hand weight. So come into an all fours, hands and knees position. And we'll be using our right arm. All you need is one hand weight today, because we're always going to work just one side. So we'll come into all fours, hands and knees. If your wrists are tender today, we learned about the Hasta Bandha on Monday. So we'll talk about slightly gripping the fingertips into the mat, pulling up the arch of the hand, slightly tucking the thumbs in. Neutral spine. And just move through cat and cow to warm up the back. So drop the belly down, lift the tailbone, lift the chin, and then round up into cat. So I'm going to get a little bit on my yoga soapbox here. So cat stretch is protraction, right? We're protracting our shoulders, and we're actually accenting the rounding of our back and poor posture. So even though cat feels wonderful and it's really good, this is going to be something we're not going to do very many today, because I don't want to accentuate the rounding of the back. So just one more, just enough to warm up the spine to create that connection. And then come to neutral, so you have a little curve in your lower back. Depress your shoulder blades and retract. So you should feel some strong, solid engagement in the upper back. We'll take hold of your hand weight in your right hand. Your elbow is bent about 90 degrees. We are going to pull that elbow up and back down. So we're going to just gently work the back of the shoulder and a little bit in the upper back. So you might say, but Lisa, this is really easy. I could do a lot more weight. It's not as easy if you focus on retraction and depression the whole time you're doing this action. And then we will add a twist. So as you pull this elbow back, rotate your spine and see if you can get right shoulder to stack on top of left and come back down. So we're working the posterior core, obliques, shoulder blades retracted and depressed. And this movement is very slow, very methodical, very meditative and mindful. And we'll do 2 more, exhaling into the pull and twist. And 1 more. And then lower back down, take your palm to face towards your knees. So it's facing behind you. Lift your arm straight back up, so we have a straight arm lifted. Retract your shoulder blades, depress them back and down, and we just do a small little lift with the back of the shoulder and with the tricep. So most of what we do in life functionally is in front of our body. We don't oftentimes reach behind us to, open a door or get into the cupboards. Everything's in front of us. So this is so important to work back behind us to strengthen those posterior shoulders and the back. Belly's pulled in, the Uddiyana Bandha is tight. 2 more repetitions, lift. 1 more lift. And lower down. 1 more exercise on this side, but we're going to send the left leg straight back behind you into spinal balance. Elbow is up. Slowly straighten the arm and bend. If the left wrist is getting a little bit tired, you can make a fist for wrist and come right up onto your knuckles. So you take that flexion out of the wrist. Level off your pelvis. And I know I'm probably going to say it 50 more times, but depress and retract your shoulder blades. That left leg extended back is active and strong. 3 more. In the strength training world, this is a tricep kickback. 2 and 1. And lower down, drop the knee, set the weight down, reach the hands out, child's pose. Just give yourself a little stretch here, drop the forehead down to the mat. Elongate through the lats, through the shoulders, through the upper back. And then guess what? We're going to depress and retract the shoulder blades in child's pose. Feel that connection in the upper back. It's subtle, but it's there. 2 more breaths. And then pull yourself up. Switching sides from hands and knees. I'll give a little flip around here. We'll take that weight into your left hand. Your right hand has a nice strong Hasta Bandha. Level the pelvis, pull the elbow back. We'll do a few without rotating. So I want you to start to make the connection with the retraction of the shoulder blades, the depression of the shoulder girdle, and feel that before we get many repetitions under our belt. And then when you feel you're ready to add the rotation, as we pull that arm up, we twist and try to stack the left shoulder on top of the right. So your right arm is a nice anchor here into the ground, but try not to use your arm excessively to facilitate this twist. I want you to use the muscles of the back core, those obliques, transverse abdominis. Exhale into the twist. And 2 more on this side. Rotate. You can do this without hand weights as well, and just feel the action of the muscle. All right, straighten out that arm. You're turning the palm to face up behind you. Lift and lower. It doesn't take much weight to really get this muscle to fire here. Readjust your shoulder girdle so you have the shoulder blades down and back. Depression and retraction. At the top of each exercise, give yourself a little hesitation so you're not lowering down really quickly with gravity. Resist gravity. And we have 3. Belly pulled in and up. 2. And 1 more. Good. All right, 1 more exercise. Send the right leg back so we're in spinal balance. Depress and retract your shoulder blades. Left elbow is up. Straighten the arm and bend. Breathe. Every repetition counts. So try not to let your mind wander and think about other things here. Keep your mind solely on the action, the retraction, the depression of the shoulder blades. Last 4. Send energy into that long leg behind you. 3, 2, and last 1. Lower the knee, lower the weight, and press back to your child's pose and come into that retracted position of the shoulder blades. From here, tuck the toes, lift the hips, come into a nice downward facing dog. Just take a moment to pedal out the feet and to stretch through the shoulders. Spread the fingers wide in that Hasta Bandha, just a gentle little clawing of the fingertip pads into the mat. And then press both heels evenly down, push back away from the palms of the hands, tip the sitting bones up, 3 breaths, and check to see that you're not hunching your shoulder blades up. Depress them down and slightly retract. And then we'll either walk or jump feet towards your hands, come into forward bend. For just a moment, clasp the elbows to hang in ragdoll pose, just to relax your wrists and your shoulders. Now what's really cool when you're in forward bend is you can retract and depress your shoulder blades against the resistance of gravity. So if we just let everything hang, gravity will pull us into elevation. Our shoulder blades will crunch right up next to our ears. So I want you to resist gravity by pulling your shoulder blades back and down while you are in forward bend. And we'll hold here 3 breaths. Such a different way to do this pose. Your head can still be relaxed. 2 more breaths. And 1 more breath. Release the hands, soften the knees, reverse swan dive, extend all the way up, reach, press the palms and thumbs into the heart. You'll need your strap as we again stretch through the pecs. So we're going to do a forward fold just like we did there with chest expansion. So we'll start with the strap behind our back, either feet hips distance apart or tight together. And press the shoulder blades down in depression, retract, and lift your arms up any amount behind your body. Soften your knees and sit into a baby chair. So our goal is to keep this protraction or retraction and depression as we begin to fold the upper body forward into forward bend. Now, if doing forward bend with chest expansion doesn't feel right for you today, just stay standing up. So if we're flexible enough and we have our hands wide enough apart, we can let gravity assist this stretch and pull our arms over our head to increase our flexibility. Not everyone has that range of motion, but if you have a strap, you can widen your hands quite a bit, and maybe you can get that to happen for you today. So shoulder blades depressed, retracted, and the arms lifted to whatever degree feels good for you today. Knees can be softly bent, especially if you're super tight in your hamstrings. Let your head relax, and we'll hold here 3 breaths. No discomfort in that stretch. Should be mild, but efficient. Then we'll come out the way we came in. So bend your knees a little deeper. Let your chest start to lift up off your thighs as we come back to our chair. Then press through the feet, rise up. We're still in chest expansion. Bring this into a baby back bend. Lift the heart. Depress those shoulder blades down. Retract back. Arms are lifting behind you. Uddiyana Bandha connection. 2 more breaths. And release down. Nicely done. Step into warrior one with your right foot in front. So I'm going to mirror the camera, so I'll be using my left, but you at home step your right foot in front. Warrior one. So I went right into warrior two, didn't I? Warrior one. So we have the knee tracking over that front heel. We're going to place our strap into our left hand, reach it up, bring it behind your back, and we're coming into our cow face position we did as we were seated today. So the opposite arm is up from the leg that's in front. Good. So stabilize in your warrior one. It doesn't have to be a long stride. We have that heel to heel alignment, front knees bent. Depress and retract your shoulder blades and walk those hands as close as you can on your strap. Then for a little balance challenge and to increase the stretch, we'll tip this into our side bend. And at home, if you're having trouble with this as a standing pose, you can again take it down to the floor, seated, or even in a chair. It's beautiful. One more breath in. And then exhale, bring it up, release the back arm first, and then the front arm down. Both straps behind your back. Come into your chest expansion wherever you feel comfortable, and we'll straighten out the front leg, level off the hips, and square them forward for pyramid. So depress the shoulder blades, retract, hinge forward at the hips until we come into a beautiful stretch for the back of the leg. But today, it's not how far we can go down into this hamstring stretch. It's about being able to get the stretch in the chest, in the shoulders, and in the upper back. You can also do this from humble warrior if you prefer to bend your front knee and sink it a little bit lower. Let's take 2 more breaths here. Inhale and exhale. And soften that front knee. Push through the front foot into our Pada Bandha. Rise up. Hold this stretch just for 1 more breath. Lift the heart, maybe a baby back bend here. Make sure we're not elevating the shoulder blades, pressing down. And then relax and release. Step the front foot forward. Left foot is in front, right foot is back. A little bit of a turnout in that back foot. Find your warrior one, nice and strong and solid. The right hand has the strap. We reach it back, let it drape behind the back. You can give this a pull here first to get into place, and then we reach back behind and walk the fingertips as closely as we can together. Okay, you know what's first. Shoulder blades down, retract back, lengthen, and then side bend. It's a nice little balance challenge to throw in this side bend as well. So really ground and root into your feet, into all 4 corners. One more breath. And rise back up, release the bottom arm first. And then that top arm, bring both straps behind your back. Any amount space between your hands. You can try a little bit different this time, maybe closer together or further apart. Push the shoulder blades down and back, lift the arms. Straighten out the front leg. Square the hips and hinge forward into pyramid. Other option is to soften and bend that front knee for humble warrior. And keep breathing. Check in again with your shoulder blades. Make sure they're not hunching up because gravity is pulling them towards the earth here. You've got to press away. 1 more breath. Inhale. Exhale. Soften that front knee. Push through the front foot to rise back up. Keep lifting the arms back behind you. Open up the heart. And release. Okay, we're swapping the strap now for our hand weight. So set the strap off to the side. Coming into warrior one, right foot in front. left hand has the hand weight. So we did this on our hands and knees. I want you to brace your hand right here on the thigh, reaching down with that hand weight to about the level of your knee. Keep your shoulders squared and pull this elbow just up behind you. Make sure those shoulder blades are retracted and depressed. So as we did before, when we were on hands and knees, we're going to start to activate the posterior obliques with this. So as you pull back, rotate. This elbow comes up and you can even look towards the ceiling and back down. So if you're feeling balance is a struggle for you in this today, you can go back down to your hands and knees and do this pose in our first version as we did before. So this is so much more mindful when it's done with the shoulder blades depressed and retracted. Probably many of you have done this exercise. It's a one-arm row. We've done it in fitness classes for centuries. But without thinking about this protraction, retraction, elevation, depression, it becomes a whole different exercise. All right, now the palm faces the back. The arm lifts behind you as we did before. Lift and slightly lower. We're not bringing the arm all the way down, just working that back end range of motion to strengthen the shoulder. Now, there might be some of you that would like to do this with a little bit more balanced challenge. So your option is to shift forward, off the back leg, warrior 3, lifting and lowering the arm. Four more repetitions, wherever you're at, either warrior 1 or warrior 3. And one more. Drop that arm for just a moment, then pull the elbow straight up, level off your shoulders, retract and depress the shoulder blades, and straighten and bend. One more option for our balance challenge, lifting up into warrior 3 for that tricep kickback. Recheck in with the shoulder blades, really retract. Gravity is pulling them down into protraction here towards the earth. 2 more repetitions. And last one. Straighten the arm and step in. Whew, how'd we do? Did anybody breathe? Woo, that was intense. Okay, let's switch sides. So the left foot is in front, right foot's back, warrior 1. Nice and lifted, and we'll just place this hand right on the thigh. This gives us the angle so that we can start to do the one-arm row and have gravity help us with our resistance. So if I'm doing warrior 1 straight up like this, it's really not going to give me my upper back and the rear deltoid. I've got to be leaned over. Depress, retract shoulder blades, and with the exhalation, add your rotation. Elbow up and down. So the head moves along with. As you rotate, you can look up over that shoulder, but that does give us a little bit of element of extra balance challenge. So if you don't want to, you can still twist without moving your head, because the beauty of rotation is the spine can move without the head moving as well. So that's fine. And let's do 3 more repetitions. Recheck in with those shoulder blades. Make sure you didn't lose that retraction and depression. And one more, rotate. Straighten the arm, turn the palm to face behind you. Lift it up, retract the shoulder blades, depress, and lift the arm up and part way down. So the prime mover of this particular exercise, we have the back of the shoulder and the tricep, but what we're doing this for today is to be able to perform that action to help us open up the front of the shoulder, creating flexibility through the front side, and then to train us to stay in retraction and depression while we're lifting our arm behind us, and not to let the upper traps hunch our shoulders up. Let's do 2 more repetitions of our rear arm raise. And 1 more. Ooh, I didn't give you the option to come into warrior 3. We will on the 3rd exercise. So let's bring that elbow up and back. So we're creating a shorter lever, and we straighten and bend. And if you want to take it up, balance. At home, if you have a chair to hold on to or a wall with your fingertips, this is great to come into warrior 3 with a little bit of assistance. Recheck in with those shoulder blades. Abs in 3 more reps. Exhale 2. Last 1. And lower the arm down, step in, roll those shoulders. Nicely done. Let's sit your hand weight down onto the mat. So what do we feel like? I'm feeling definitely a little bit of work in the shoulders, right? A little bit stretched out. So let's go ahead and come on down onto our backs on the mat. We have the strap with us. Ooh, I'm going to face the other way for the sun. So take that strap directly up from your shoulders, and then just laying on your back, knees bent, feet flat on the mat, try to retract your shoulder blades down and back as we hold this position. Press into all 4 corners of the feet and lift the hips up into bridge. Now, without losing that retraction and depression of the shoulder blades, try to let your arms go over your head and then pull them right back up to 90 degrees. It is so hard to lift your arms up without letting your shoulder blades come up. But in this position on the mat, you can feel your shoulder blades and that they are pressed solidly into the floor. So you should be able to tell whether or not they're moving and whether you're hunching your shoulders up. And 1 more. Then let those hips roll back down. Stack your knees in table. So we have a little bit different position. Our entire back is pressed into the mat. Pulling out on the strap, retract and depress your shoulder blades, and then lift your arms up without letting your shoulder blades move. So you might not be able to lift your arms completely above your head without letting the shoulder blades rise. Core is braced, nice neutral spine. And for a little bit more abdominal work here, as the arms come over, just send 1 leg out long, brace, bring it back in. Make sure you're breathing with this. And I am definitely feeling a lot of shaking going on in my shoulders and my upper back just to maintain that precision, the shoulder blade retraction and depression. One more on each leg, or 2 more, just the arms only. And then set your feet down, relax your strap. We're going to do that same exercise with the option of using your hand weight. Didn't have mine close to me. So with the hand weight, we're going to hold it end to end right up in front of us. Press down into your feet and roll up into bridge. And just notice where your shoulder blades are connected into the mat. Squeeze the glutes a little bit. Engage through the thighs. Depress and retract your shoulder blades and try to lift your arms over your head without losing that depression of the shoulder blades. And then pull them back up. So we don't have a lot of weight doing this, but as you build strength in your upper back and in your arms, you could try this with a little bit more and a little bit more workload to create that strengthening. And one more, reach it up, shoulder blades down, pull the arm up, roll down from your bridge. Stack knees in tabletop. Depress and retract your shoulder blades. You might even have to pick them up off the mat and pull them down. Brace your core and let your arms lift without moving through your shoulder girdle. Ooh, if I do this correct, I know that I can go back farther with my arms, but my shoulder blades are not allowing that without moving. So it's not as much about range of motion as it is about stabilization. Option to add one leg out, extend. Bring it in. Check in to make sure your pelvis is not moving. It's super stable. This is a core stability exercise as well as the stabilization of that shoulder girdle. Let the breath flow. Arms can be slightly bent or really elongate them straight, whatever feels comfortable for you, and you can maintain that stability. We have one more on each side. And lower your feet down and release the hand weight next to you. Bring your arms to goal post. So I have that cactus arm position, 90-degree bend. Hold this here to give yourself a passive stretch through the chest. Cross your right ankle over your left thigh. And then with the muscles of your glutes, let your knee push away from you. Engage your core, depress and retract your shoulder blades. We are going to pull the knees in toward you and then lower down any amount as we move through an active figure 4 stretch. So this is really working core stabilization as well as that shoulder girdle stabilization. This could also be done with your hand towel rolled down the middle of your shoulder blades to give yourself a little bit more stretch and a little bit more lift. And then let your knees come towards you and just hold this. Now, oftentimes with this stretch, we reach through the legs and we pull up and then we come into protraction. And it's not a bad thing because we get extra stretch for our hips. But today, I want you to think about not protracting at all in any of our work. Retraction and depression of the shoulder blades. Then coming into a twist with this, we'll bring the left foot to come down to the floor and then drop your knees to your left side until your right foot finds the mat or maybe a prop. If you've got a block there that it can sit on. And if your arms don't touch the floor in goalpost, adjust them maybe a little bit lower or straight out to the side or above the head. The position of the arms isn't as important as maintaining that retraction and depression of the shoulder blades. And then just soften through the spine. If you'd like, you can turn your head the opposite direction of your knees, which would be to that right side. And we are soaking up some rays here in the backyard. It's a beautiful day. Bring your head back to neutral. Very slowly with your core engaged, pull your knees back up. Uncross the ankle over the knee. Adjust your hips to make sure they're nice and neutral. Cross the left ankle over the right thigh. And with the strength of your glutes, move that left knee away from you. Your foot is flexed actively. Brace your abs, shoulder blades down and retracted, and slowly lift both knees up in toward you until you feel a gentle hip stretch. And then with the core engaged, lower down any amount. Maybe your heel doesn't find the mat, that's okay. And just lift and lower through this range of motion. And I'm kind of creating opposing resistance. I'm pushing my right knee up into the left ankle and the left ankle down to the right knee. So I'm creating drag or force as I'm going in both directions. Might even feel this work in your right quadricep and hip flexor. And then bring those knees and hold. Keep that stretch. Recheck in with your shoulder blades firmly pressed into the mat. If you'd like to change arm position just briefly, find a new stretch. And then we'll move into a twist by dropping the right foot down to the floor. Let your knees move over to the right side till that left foot plants. You can rotate your head to the left. Nice little neck stretch here. Bring the head back to neutral. The knees back to neutral gently. Uncross the ankle. Feet are close together. Let your knees open into Baddha Konasana. Nice hip stretch. And then your fingertips will place behind the back of the head and your elbows are out nice and wide. And without rounding your spine into protraction or your shoulder blades, we'll do some little bitty baby crunches. So what we normally see that we typically do is we round and our shoulders go forward. So I want you to keep your elbows out wide, your shoulder blades retract and depressed, and just try to engage your abs and just pick your head and a little bit of your shoulder blades off the mat. It's not going to be much. And set them back down. And lift and lower. Shoulder blades should not be hunching or elevating. Exhale coming up. Inhaling down, just 2 more. One more time. Lift, lift, lift. No rounding in the back or shoulders. And lowering. Bring your arms gently by your side. Palms are facing up. Let the fronts of your shoulders roll open. And just for a moment, press down into the back of the head. Lift your chest up completely off the mat so you can retract your shoulder blades and depress. And then set your shoulder girdle back down into the floor. Relax your arms. Soften through your hips and pelvis. And just notice how the shoulders are feeling. Go back in your mind to revisit that feeling. Each time you're working at home on your computer, on your phone, cooking dinner, just focus that retraction, depression of the shoulder blades. and see how that will change your life and change your posture and change your strength. Allow your legs to extend out to straight into our final relaxation, our Shavasana. And then the shoulders are gently retracted and depressed, but then just let it go. So there's no work there to be done. We're just imprinting that position into our mat, imprinting that position in our mind's eye. Find an equal ratio breath, breathing in and out through the nose, and the duration of the inhalation matches the duration of the exhalation. If you are at home, as always, feel free to remain here in meditation for as long as you'd like. And then preparing to come out of our pose today, I want you just to bend your knees, set your feet flat. And today, when I say hug the knees in towards your chest, we're not going to do that with protraction of the shoulder blades. So we're going to pick up one knee at a time, reach to the back side of the thighs, and keep your shoulder blades down into the mat as you pull them in toward you. Now you can have them wide, but I want to take out any rounding of the back here as you pull those knees in. And then roll over onto your side. Use the strength of your top arm to press yourself up to seated. We'll come full circle in that simple cross-leg pose. Without the strap, just raise the arms to goalpost. Press those shoulder blades down into depression. Retract and breathe. And we keep that connection as we press the palms of the hands in our Anjali Mudra without rounding the shoulder blades forward. Inhale to open. Exhale to press the palms. No movement in the upper back. 3 more breaths. Inhale, expand. Exhale, close. 2 more. Mindfully maintaining that connection. 1 more. And hold here. Tip the right ear towards the right shoulder. Lengthen the left side of the neck. All the while maintaining that shoulder blade connection. Roll your chin down towards your chest without rounding the upper back. We're just lengthening the back of the neck. Then bring the head back to neutral. Readjust the upper back, depression and retraction. Tip the left ear towards the left shoulder. Roll that chin down to the chest. Keep pulling the shoulder blades back, back, back. And bring the head back to neutral. Inhale, open the arms. Exhale as you turn to the right and keep those shoulder blades down. Keep rotating, rotating, looking over that right shoulder. Inhale back to center, long spine. Exhale, rotate to the left. Feel the strength of the back muscles. Inhale back to center. Exhale, right hand comes down to the floor. Do your side bend without losing retraction and depression. How far can you lift your arm without lifting your shoulder blade up? Inhale back up. Left hand comes down. Reach. It makes this stretch so much different. Inhale back to center. Now try to elevate your arms without elevating your shoulder blades. And bring it back down. 2 more, arms up, but no shrugging of the shoulder blades. 1 more, lengthen. And exhale. Press the palms at heart center as we pause to express our gratitude for this opportunity to practice both virtually and here in the backyard. It's such an honor and a pleasure to lead you and guide you through your practice today. And the light and love and peace that resides within me honors the light and love and peace in each of you. Namaste. Thank you everyone for joining me. If you guys want to take a little pass by the camera, I'd like for everybody to take a wave at you. And you can pop cameras on and say hello and let me know how we did today with this.
Wow. Look at my loose arms. Woo!
Woo!
That was great, Lisa. Thank you.